The movie begins in 1985, in the Bronx, New York. Wilson de Leon is a drug dealer working for Javier Cordero. He and his wife, Millie, are expecting their first child. Millie, wanting a better future, launders Wilson's drug money into legitimate investments, ensuring they can leave behind their dangerous lifestyle. Wilson is relieved and ready for a fresh start. Before he can walk away, Wilson attends one final meeting with Javier, but Javier sees him as a threat. That night, while Millie gives birth to Wilson Jr., Wilson is gunned down on Javier's orders, leaving Millie to raise their son alone. Years later, Wilson Jr. grows up in a privileged and safe environment, unaware of his father's criminal past. Millie keeps him away from trouble, but everything changes when he discovers the truth about his father's murder. Determined to set things right, he enters the world his mother fought so hard to keep him out of. As he seeks revenge against Javier, Wilson Jr. finds himself drawn deeper into crime. The conflict escalates, leading to a final confrontation between Wilson Jr. and Javier's men. With everything on the line, he takes control of his fate, shaping his legacy. In 2006, Millie, Wilson Jr. and Randy live in a luxurious mansion in Connecticut. Wilson Jr. is in college, has a devoted girlfriend named Anna, and enjoys a privileged life. However, he has a strained relationship with his mother, frustrated by her multiple boyfriends and the secrecy surrounding their past. Millie refuses to discuss the details, leaving Wilson Jr. feeling disconnected from his family's history. One day, while shopping at a grocery store, Millie suddenly spots someone from her past. Her expression changes, and fear takes over. She immediately tells Randy they have to leave, abandoning their groceries. Randy, confused by her urgency, hesitates, but Millie insists. Wilson Jr., unaware of what's happening, returns home later and confronts his mother about her strange behavior. Tensions explode into an argument. Wilson Jr. demands the truth, frustrated by years of secrecy. Millie finally breaks down and reveals what she has been hiding. She tells him that his father, Wilson Sr., was a drug dealer and that their family has been in danger for years. The man she saw at the grocery store is a reminder that Javier, a powerful and ruthless criminal, is still searching for them. Millie takes Wilson Jr. to a hidden room in the mansion, revealing a stockpile of guns she has kept for protection. The revelation shakes Wilson Jr., but instead of fear, he feels anger and frustration. Despite everything, Wilson Jr. refuses to run. He doesn't fully grasp the danger or believe that his life is at risk. Against his mother's wishes, he decides to stay in the mansion with Anna. Millie, torn between keeping her family safe and letting her son make his own choices, prepares for whatever may come next. That night, Wilson Jr. is alone in the mansion when two assassins break in. Without hesitation, they open fire, sending bullets flying through the house. Wilson Jr. reacts quickly, grabbing his weapon and returning fire. The gunfight is intense, with shots shattering windows, tearing through walls, and echoing throughout the massive home. Wilson Jr. moves fast, using furniture for cover as he fights for his life. Despite being outnumbered, he doesn't back down. One assassin tries to sneak up on him, but Wilson Jr. catches the movement and fires first, hitting the attacker and sending him crashing to the floor. The second assassin keeps shooting, forcing Wilson Jr. to dodge and take cover. The fight drags on, the house now riddled with bullet holes, but Wilson Jr. refuses to give up. In a final, decisive moment, he lands a perfect shot, taking down the last attacker. The mansion falls silent. The air is thick with smoke, and the floor is covered in broken glass and debris. Strangely, despite the deafening gunfire, no police sirens are heard. No neighbors come to check on the commotion. It's as if nothing had happened at all. Wilson Jr. finds this odd but has no time to dwell on it. Even after this brutal attack, Millie decides it's safe for her and Randy to move back into the mansion. She acts as if the danger has passed, believing they are no longer being hunted. Wilson Jr. is uneasy about her decision. He knows the fight isn't over. But Millie is determined, and he doesn't argue. A few days later, the family takes a trip to a nearby park, hoping for a peaceful afternoon. The sun is shining, children are playing, and everything seems normal. Wilson Jr. tries to relax, but something catches his attention. A man stands at a distance, watching them. He doesn't move, doesn't speak, just stares. There is something off about him, the way he remains perfectly still, his gaze locked on them. Wilson Jr. immediately feels a rush of unease. His instincts tell him this is no coincidence. He doesn't look away, carefully observing the stranger. The man doesn't flinch and doesn't pretend to be doing anything else. He is there for them. Wilson Jr. doesn't say anything to his mother or Randy yet, not wanting to alarm them. But he knows deep down that their troubles are far from over. Wilson Jr. decides to travel to San Juan, Puerto Rico, without telling his mother, Millie. He is desperate for answers about his father's past and the truth behind their family's wealth. Upon arriving, he visits his Aunt Yesenia, one of the few people who still has ties to their old life. She is hesitant at first but eventually tells him where he can find the man responsible for his father's death, Javier Cordero. Javier is a powerful drug lord, and Yesenia warns Wilson Jr. that seeking him out is dangerous. However, Wilson Jr. is determined and heads to a nightclub called Mora's, where Javier is known to spend time. Inside the club, Wilson Jr. finally comes face to face with Javier. The drug lord doesn't seem surprised to see him and wastes no time revealing what he claims is the truth. He tells Wilson Jr. that his mother, Millie, stole $2 million from him before disappearing with her son. Javier believes that money rightfully belongs to him and sees Millie as nothing more than a thief. Before Wilson Jr. can process this revelation, Javier signals his men, and they attack. Wilson Jr. is beaten badly by Javier's thugs and then thrown back into his hotel room as a warning. Shaken and in pain, Wilson Jr. returns to Connecticut, more confused than ever. The conversation with Javier lingers in his mind, making him question everything he thought he knew about his mother. He finally decides to confront her, asking about their luxurious lifestyle. The mansion, expensive cars, and financial security no longer make sense to him. Millie, realizing that the truth can't be hidden anymore, sits him down and explains everything. She tells him that after Wilson Sr.'s death, she was left alone with no protection. She knew Javier would come after her, so she had to disappear. However, she also had the money Wilson Sr. had earned from his criminal activities. Instead of spending it recklessly, she made smart investments, ensuring that her family would never have to rely on crime again. One of her biggest financial moves was an early investment in Microsoft, which paid off tremendously. Wilson Jr. is stunned by the revelation but still feels uneasy. He then admits that he met with Javier in Puerto Rico. Millie's expression changes instantly. Panic and anger wash over her as she realizes what has happened. She knows that Javier didn't just want to talk, he wanted to track them down. Wilson Jr. unknowingly led Javier straight to them, putting their entire family in danger. Before they can figure out their next move, the danger arrives at their doorstep. Their mansion is attacked again, this time by two more assassins. One of them is the same man they had spotted watching them at the park earlier, proving that Javier's men had been keeping an eye on them long before Wilson Jr.'s trip to Puerto Rico. The attack is swift and brutal, forcing Millie and Wilson Jr. to fight for their lives. Gunfire erupts throughout the house as the assassins attempt to eliminate them. Millie, having lived in fear for years, is prepared. She fights back with deadly precision, proving that she is not just a scared widow but a survivor. Wilson Jr., despite his inexperience, refuses to back down. He fights alongside his mother, determined to protect their home and his younger brother, Randy. The shootout is intense, with bullets flying in all directions. The assassins are relentless, but Millie and Wilson Jr. refuse to go down without a fight. After a fierce battle, they finally manage to take down their attackers, killing them both. The house is left in ruins, filled with bullet holes and shattered glass, but they are alive. As the dust settles, Millie and Wilson Jr. know that this is far from over. Javier will not stop until he gets what he wants, and now, they have to decide their next move. After the intense shootout at the mansion, the police arrive to investigate. Despite the gunfire and two dead men, the Connecticut authorities surprisingly treat it as a simple case of home invasion gone wrong. They do not connect the attack to any larger criminal activity and quickly close the case. With the immediate danger seemingly behind them, Millie and Wilson Jr. decide it is time to put an end to their troubles once and for all. They plan to travel to Puerto Rico and confront Javier directly. Wilson Jr. knows that his actions have already led Javier to them, and if they don't act first, more assassins will come. Determined to face the truth, Wilson Jr. and Millie arrive in San Juan. Wilson Jr. goes straight to Mora's nightclub, the place where he first encountered Javier. This time, he is not here to ask questions, he is here for answers. When he meets Javier again, the drug lord doesn't waste any time revealing the truth about Wilson Sr. and why he was killed. Javier explains that back in 1983, he had trusted Wilson Sr. with something very personal. He had asked Wilson to look after his 15-year-old sister, Mora, who was young, innocent, and in need of protection. Instead of safeguarding her, Wilson Sr., a grown married man, betrayed that trust. He began an affair with Mora. As time passed, their relationship became more serious, and in 1985, Mora became pregnant with his child. At the same time, Millie was also pregnant with Wilson Jr. Mora, confused and emotional, didn't know what to do. She called her brother, Javier, and revealed everything. She told him about the affair, the pregnancy, and her feelings for Wilson Sr. Even though she loved Wilson, she knew that he would never leave Millie for her. The heartbreak was too much for her to bear. Trapped in a situation she couldn't escape from, Mora took her own life. Javier was devastated. His beloved little sister was gone, and he blamed only one person. Wilson Sr. Killing him wasn't just about revenge. To Javier, it was justice. He wanted Wilson Sr. to pay for what he had done. But even after having him murdered, Javier found no peace. His sister was still gone, and nothing could bring her back. Now, standing before Wilson Jr., he sees an opportunity to finally get the closure he seeks. Javier makes it clear that he is not finished. Killing Wilson Sr. wasn't enough, so now he plans to kill Wilson Jr. as well. He wants Millie to suffer the same way he suffered, losing someone she loves. Wilson Jr. realizes that no amount of reasoning will change Javier's mind. This is about revenge, and Javier will not stop until he gets what he wants. Just as Javier prepares to carry out his plan, Millie suddenly bursts into the room. Without hesitation, she raises her gun and shoots Javier, killing him instantly. For years, she had lived in fear, constantly looking over her shoulder, always expecting Javier to come for her and her children. But now, it is finally over. Javier's death creates an immediate power shift within his criminal empire. His second-in-command, Chaco, steps forward. Instead of retaliating, he simply nods in appreciation. He thanks Millie and Wilson Jr. for getting rid of Javier, knowing that this means he now has full control of the crime operation. He allows them to leave without any resistance, making it clear that he has no interest in avenging his former boss. As Millie and Wilson Jr. walk out of the nightclub, they finally feel a sense of relief. The years of running, hiding, and living in fear are over. The man who had haunted their lives for so long is gone. On the way back, Millie asks Wilson Jr. what Javier had said before she arrived. She wants to know why Javier killed Wilson Sr. Wilson Jr. hesitates for a moment. He remembers every word Javier told him, the affair with Mora, the pregnancy, and her tragic death. He knows that if Millie finds out the truth, it will destroy her image of Wilson Sr. The man she loved, the man she built a new life for, was not the person she thought he was. Instead of telling her the truth, Wilson Jr. lies. He tells her that Javier killed his father because of the stolen $2 million. Millie nods, accepting the explanation without question. For her, the story finally makes sense, and she is ready to leave it behind. With Javier gone and the past buried, Wilson Jr. and Millie return to their lives, ready to start fresh, knowing they have finally escaped the shadows of their past. And that's how it all comes to an end: secrets, betrayals, and a whole lot of bullets. Millie and Wilson Jr. finally escape their past, but at what cost? If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more thrilling stories. And let me know in the comments, what would you have done in Wilson Jr.'s place? See you in the next one. Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications, so you can watch more movies like this. Thanks for watching.